Good evening, everybody. We are live on Thursday, August 26th. We are about to kick off our 2021 college football season. Welcome to the Safety and the Sportswriter with Knoxville Nate and Big Joe. As you can see tonight, there is no Big Joe. You just got Knoxville Nate here. I hope that's okay with everybody, but you're going to have to deal with it. We're going to be talking a lot of college football tonight because we have our season fast approaching, and we're going to break it down. I will have my co-host RICO MCCOY joining me here shortly. The coach, the linebacker, the man, the myth, the legend. He's going to join me tonight. We're going to talk about college football from top to bottom. Obviously, we've got some games that are going to be kicking off this week. However, the big show starts next week, and that's when our new show, Man Coverage, that's at MAN_coverage, at Man Coverage, will kick off next Sunday and start breaking down all the college football games. Me and Rico are going to be doing a live and recorded show, essentially giving you the rundown of everything that happened. Obviously, our first show will be on the next Sunday, a week from Sunday, and we'll talk about all the games that occurred on Thursday, the games that are on Friday, the games that are on Saturday, Sunday, everything that goes down the first week. So I hope everybody will join us. I hope everybody is ready for college football season. I know that we are. I know that Joe is. I know that Rico is, and we're excited and we're looking forward to it. Obviously, there's going to be, some new players coming into the fold, all the incoming freshmen, all the transfers for their new teams. But, there's also some of the same old story as me and Rico are going to break down tonight, our top 10, the top 10, AP top 10, and who's in the preseason. Got to be honest, not a big fan of the preseason top 10. I think it's a joke. I think they should do the first top 10, when after the first couple of weeks of the season. I just think it's kind of a joke to do a preseason top 10 when nobody's seen any of these teams play yet. But we'll get Rico's thoughts on that, and hopefully he shares my brain on that. We're going to bring him in right now. We got Mr. McCoy joining us. Rico.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing, Coach?
I'm well. Yourself?
I'm doing just fine. I was just telling our listeners a little bit about the new show we got going on called Man Coverage. Going to be kicking off on next Sunday, a week from Sunday, breaking down all the college football, and was also talking a little bit about the preseason poll that came out. We're going to break it down here in a few minutes, but not a big fan of the preseason poll. I think it's kind of a joke, man. They have some teams in there that don't belong. They got some teams in there basically solely based on what they did last year. What do you think?
I never pay too much attention to it, so I don't critique them too hard, Nate. But attention grabbers, man. You know what they're trying to do. It's football season. Ramp the fans up. Throw some teams out there that have hardcore followings. Throw a couple teams that don't belong to get people talking about it. It's kind of like clickbait, and all us football fans and sports fans know it's not where you start, but where you finish. So, you revisit that thing in about 5 or 6 weeks and you really know something.
No, I agree 100%. It's, they got to do it, I guess, because people want it. People want to see, where their team stacks up. But honestly, even the experts really have no idea because, everybody's starting fresh. I mean, that's the beauty of college football. Every year you start fresh. And I think this year, 2021 is going to be one of the most unique years in college football history because as we've talked about before on this show, and as me and you have talked about, the whole game is different. We got the transfer portal. Guys can move from team to team without having to sit out. We got guys jumping their senior year of high school, like Quinn Ewers at Ohio State, and playing right away. And we also have, due to COVID, the Rona as I like to refer to it. We got guys that, played last year as seniors that are coming back. And I think that'll make it for a unique season. I don't know what you think.
Well, Nate, listen, it's free agency. it's free agency at the college level, and I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan. Having played the game, and coaches did have too much control over a guy's future. Now it's kind of, if a kid's not happy there, I'm not saying you should jump all over the place, of course, but sometimes a place just isn't a good fit. It's just like any job you've ever worked. Either it's a good fit or it's not. You can't work anywhere, Nate. You can't have just any boss. It's the same thing with football. So I'm happy to see it. Guys are able to move around and go where they feel loved and appreciated. But that goes to what you're saying. Ball clubs will really have turnover from year to year now. We know how important the quarterback position is. You bringing in a big-time quarterback, it makes all the difference in the world. Now that receiver that you had, who we all knew was good in practice, the rest of the country gets to see. So it's, these teams are going to be completely different. But, look, I'm curious to know who you think doesn't belong in that top 10 and like, why? Who are you talking about? Like, at that person. I want to know who you're talking about, Nate.
Honestly, I've got some questions about some of those teams, but just to reiterate what you were saying, I agree with you. I'm glad these guys can go. I thought it was an absolute joke that these kids, go to a school and they're sold one bill of goods, and then they get there and it's something different. There's 15 guys at their position, and their coach, who recruited them's gone. He bolted for the NBA, the NFL, or he went to another school for more money or whatever. It's a joke. So now, these guys can move around a little bit, and they can go to another school. And, I think it holds coaches accountable, and the guys that are honest don't have to worry about anything, because as long as they're honest with their guys, they're good. But just to answer your question, because I don't want to dodge the question, I'm with you. Honestly, when I look at this top 10, you got your usual suspects. You got Bama, number one, again. It seems like every year that Nick Saban is there, pretty much they're ranked number one. I can't really argue that. They were head and shoulders above everybody, including my boys up in Columbus. As they showed in the national championship game, and me and you called it. Yep. As our listeners will recall, the week before the national championship game, me and Rico were on here breaking that down, and what we said was going to happen happened. But I think Oklahoma's probably right where they should be. I think they're in good position. I think Lincoln Riley knows what he's doing. He's proven to be a stellar coach at this level. He can win. Can he win the national championship? I don't know, but they're definitely up there. And with Spencer Rattler coming back, they got what they need to get there. The biggest question mark I've got is probably Notre Dame, to be honest with you. And I know they're ranked number 9, and I'm not hating on Joe's Irish because Joe's not here. That's not what I'm doing. But I got to be honest, as a Buckeye fan, I watched Jack Cohen up close and personal when he was the quarterback at Wisconsin. And obviously now he's at Notre Dame. He's won the job. He's going to be the man. And do I think he's an upgrade over Ian Book? No, I do not. I think Ian Book is a better quarterback than him. Hell, they couldn't win the national championship with Book. So, downgrading at that position, I think, is big. And then, they lost a lot of key personnel on defense. Devlin Hayes is gone. Their other defensive end is gone. So they lost their top 2 rush ends. They lost several of their linebackers, several of their DBs. And, I like what they've got coming back in the running back position, and Kyron Williams. He's one of my favorite players in all of college football. But I just think, I saw Jack Cohen at Wisconsin. And when he had, Aaron Tate, what's the guy's name from the Colts? Jonathan Taylor behind him, toting that rock 30 times, and he only had to throw it 15, 20 times. He looked okay, but in games where, they played somebody good like the Buckeyes, or they went up against Northwestern and people stacked up against the run, I think Jack Cohn was exposed, and so that's probably the team I got the biggest problem with.
So look, you made a few good points. I agree with you. I just they're just that program that's never as good as as people say or as people vote. But the big point for me was the defensive ends, the loss of the guys on the defensive line. We're talking about a team that still gave up 400 yards passing to a backup quarterback fresh off the bench, in Clemson. Not saying that Clemson's a mediocre program or that, DJ's not going to be a heck of a starting quarterback for Clemson. But the dude came off the bench. His debut was 400 yards on y'all with those defensive linemen. So that point right there is where hits home for me. You couldn't stop this dude at your best, and your next guys up probably aren't going to be as good as those two guys that you lost. I was kind of wondering about the Iowa State thing. What are your feelings? I didn't get to watch them play much last year, but are they really top 10 caliber ball club or what? What did I miss?
They kind of had a down year last year, honestly. They were expected to be pretty damn good because they've got Brock Purdy, who was supposed to be one of the top, and I say supposed to be because he underperformed. He had a hell of a year the year before in 2019, but 2020 did not go as planned. Okay. And the big question for them is, can he bounce back? The good news for Brock Purdy is he's got Breece Hall behind him. And Breece Hall is one of the best running backs in the country. And, to be honest, I love their coach, Campbell.
Tough, old school, tough.
He's one of the best coaches in the game. And let me tell you why I love this guy. This dude could have bolted at any time. Mm-hmm. This guy has had offers to go to other schools. This guy has been looked at by some NFL jobs that have come available. And what has he done but re-signed every year to go back to the Cyclones? And that kind of commitment, I think, shows up in recruiting. I think it shows up in the heart that his players play with. Mm-hmm. He knows that they're committed to him. And he knows he's going to be around. And also he knows how to win. He's proven he can win at Iowa State. Now, are they a top 10 team?
That's my question.
I do not know. I mean, they have the talent to be a top 10 team. But as we saw last year, once the bullets start flying, things don't always go as planned. And, it was not the season they expected. They lost the week 1 last year. I think they played Louisiana. But they get to, things are different this year. Teams get to open up with some of them with a little bit of a softer schedule. Mm-hmm. They start off against Northern Iowa, and then play Iowa, and that it's going to be a little bit easier for them, is what I'm saying. So I think if ever there were a time for them to be a top 10 team, it'd be now. I think it's probably this year.
Okay. Well, look, I'll start at the top. It's Nick Saban. I mean, I'm involved for life, sure, but I mean, everybody knows it's a consensus. Nick Saban's the GOAT. Okay, and they do nothing but reload and go get it. My thoughts on their quarterback: he'll probably win the Heisman if you ask me. And here's why I say that. I watched this dude play in high school 2 games. One of those games was against St. Francis High School in Baltimore, right? They had about 16 or 17 D1 seniors. And I watched this guy and 2 receivers win that ball game. And his precision, his poise in the pocket, his athleticism. I mean, this dude was incredible. He was clearly the best player in high school because he willed that team to a win where they were literally outmanned. I mean, come on, St. Francis Academy is loaded. They go pick guys from all over the country. They house them, and they play great ball. I mean, they send guys to LSU, all over the country every year, Bama. And this guy played the game. He led those boys to a victory. So what I'm saying is this. This dude was great in high school. Now you're surrounded by some of the best talent there is in college football. The sky's the limit for him. He has a cannon. He's athletic enough to run. He can scramble. The dude can do it all. I mean, he is probably going to have a record-breaking season this year. Like, that's the kind of guy I think he is. So I'm excited to see what they can do this year because he's a great quarterback, and he's going to be surrounded by one of the best coaching staffs in college football, arguably the best head coach ever for college football. I mean, your O-line's going to be nice, your running backs, your receivers. They got a freshman, Ajay Hall, and they said that this is what I was told. He is the closest thing to Julio Jones, okay, since Nick Saban's been at Bama. And they said that this dude's going to start as a freshman this year. He enrolled early in January, and all I hear is how great of a player he is. So, man, I'm excited to see what Bama can do. And look, you were talking about Iowa State last year. Alabama this year, Nate, because of last year, they're going to continue that success. And it's because last year came with so many obstacles. It was the unknown. You couldn't go by your standard, order of operations. And that's what maybe affected Iowa State. That's my point. That maybe affected them having to change the way they practice, change practice hours, change when they practice, the length of practice. Those things mess you up, how we can train in off season. Bama adapted, and they won. They played an all SEC schedule. Come on, man. Every week they played an SEC opponent. That thing it should come with a 2 asterisks. They played all SEC and still found a way to win every ball game. That's what's so impressive. So when we say this thing it could go any way out here other than those top couple spots, I think it can go any way because last year people had to adapt. They were taken out of their comfort zone and told to, hey, you can play, but you got to do this, and this every week. Every day you got to do this, checking temperature, doing this, taking tests. And Alabama and Nick Saban, they say, you know what, we're going to do it to the best of our ability, and we're still going to win games. So that's why I'm excited about college football right now. Who can come out this year? We don't know, Nate.
Hey, they've got the CEO, man. I mean, that's what you need in college football. You got to have the CEO, the big man in charge that knows what the hell he's doing. And that's what they've got. And that's why they've been able to overcome losing guys like they do. It's a factory, man. Every year they have all these guys that go in the draft, and that's why people were saying, oh, they've lost so much from last year. Mac Jones is gone. Najee Harris is gone. Jalen Waddle is gone. So-and-so is gone. Who cares? They have so much talent, and they have so much, going on with their coaching staff that it's next man up there. And you know what? I got to be honest. I think that Bryce Young getting to sit there and soak it all in last year, I think it's probably good for him. I think it's probably the best. I mean, people say, well, the best way to learn is being on the field. I understand all that. But getting to sit there and go to practice and not have to have all the pressure on an 18-year-old back, I think is good for him. Yep. And like you mentioned, they got IG Hall, a freshman out of Florida, Valrico, Florida, Bloomingdale High School. He's supposed to be a stud. They got Brian Robinson, running back. They've also got, Jamison Williams, the transfer from Ohio State. Couldn't really get on the field for the Buckeyes, but, should be able to help that receiving core. They got John Mechie coming back.
Tough.
Slade Bolden coming back. And then, besides Hall, they've got Ja'Cory Brooks, JoJo Earl, Christian Leary. Mm-hmm. They've got 4 of the top 50 freshman wide receivers in the country.
Come on.
So I expect 0 drop-off.
Yep.
And then you got Clemson. We got to talk about them too because, it's the same thing. I mean, they lost a lot as well. I mean, Travis Etienne is gone. My boy, Amari Rodgers is gone.
Right.
Cornell Powell is gone. Trevor Lawrence is gone. But you still got Dabo Swinney in charge. Plus, we got to see DJU. We got to see big number 5 go out there and play last year, and he already proved he can do it.
Come on.
And they got the wide receivers, man. They got EJ Williams. They got Frank Ladson. They got Justin Ross coming back from injury.
Gamer.
I mean, he's proven it on the biggest stage there is. And then I really think this year they're going to have these tight ends step up. Davis Allen, Braden Galloway, Jalen Lay, 3 of the top tight ends in the country are all on one team. So I'm expecting nothing but the same old from the Clemson Tigers. I don't know what you think.
Nate, I think that their defensive line is going to be incredible. Their defensive line is going to be incredible. I mean, if you're talking about their ends, and they have a defensive tackle who actually went to my high school, St. John's. And listen, what's my big guy's name? Brees?
Brian Breesy.
Brian Breesy is a monster. He's a grown man. He's a grown man, Nate. And I've seen him. He can play 5 technique. He can play a 3 technique. And he's monstrous. He's strong. He has moves. He came in like that as a freshman. Then you have the freshman from, Marietta, Georgia, who's your speed rush guy. He's incredible coming off the edge. So you mix those 2 guys outside, and you have those 2 big interior defensive tackles that they have, and it's going to be a problem. These guys were all freshmen last year. That's what's incredible about this. Your top 2 sack guys were freshmen for your team. Your TFL leader, your sack leader were freshmen. It's impressive. You can build anything once you have a front like that. You got D linemen like that, it makes it easier for my backers, makes it easier for my daggone defensive back. So I agree with you, especially in the ACC. They'll run the table there, and we'll see what they can do, in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into our breakout guys in a minute, but one of mine is a guy on the Clemson line. So we'll talk about it here in a few minutes because I don't want to spoil it for our listeners. But, yeah, one of my guys on my breakout list is from the Clemson D-line. And they've also got Xavier Thomas coming back, who didn't play last year and, is a graduate a guy that's already graduated and, has proven to be a threat. So, I don't think really that, some people are saying that their D-line took a step back last year. I don't really agree with that. I think
they were young. They were young, Nate.
Well, they had the same problems that a lot of teams did. They had injuries, they had COVID issues, and, that kind of threw them off in some games, but they still got that core of players. They've got Balin Spector coming back. They've got James Skalski coming back at the mic. Trenton Simpson will be back as a sophomore. And, they've always got good corners and secondary players like Xanders and Fred Davis, Andrew Booth, all those guys that can get after it. So I'm expecting Dabo to light it up and to have another year like they've been having. And he's, I know he gets a lot of credit and, he likes it, but he deserves it, man. I mean, what he's done with that program, I think is remarkable.
Who we have next?
So, while we're here, why don't we talk a little Buckeye football? I mean,
you like that, wouldn't you?
I don't like to toot my own horn, but I got to be honest. This is one of the most exciting seasons that I've ever, sat around for as far as preseason hype goes. And I know we lost Justin Fields, and I do think there may be some growing pains, but when you lose a guy that's drafted in the top 10, 11 picks, and then you've got 4 guys that are top 100 players ready to go, the drop-off's not going to be that bad. And, we've got one of the top offensive tackles in the country in Thayer Munford. He's a senior. He's back. We got Paris Johnson, who's the big boy from my school up there in Cincinnati, St. Xavier. He's going to get to start this year. And then what do you want? What do you want when you're a quarterback? You want receivers. We have the greatest group of wide receivers I may have ever seen. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., Julian Fleming. I don't even know. Is there enough balls to go around?
No. But hold on, Nate. You just said that you've ever seen. I mean, how far back does your memory go? Like, I mean, can we go back 2 years and just talk like Bama? Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I don't like to talk Bama, so I kind of just take them out of the equation.
But Nate, what are you saying? Are they on another level?
I'm saying that their depth. I've never seen a team that goes 7-8 deep like this at the wide receiver position. I mean, Jameson Williams, went to Alabama, and honestly, he's a great player. And I'm not going to say anything bad about the guy because he's a great player. He's fast as can be. He's a very skilled wide receiver. But I mean, I think the main reason he left was he's going to get more balls at Bama. I mean, I've never seen this kind of depth before. It is in one position.
I agree with you. They're loaded. I mean, watching the last 2 recruiting classes for Ohio State. So here's my question, Nate. While we're on it, it's a little bit off topic, but Ohio State is the closest thing to Alabama these last 3 years recruiting-wise. What is the difference in the outcome of these games? Because I'm looking at Ohio State, and it's number 1 at this position, number 3, number 4. Number 2 at this position, number 4, number 5. What is the difference? How can we close that gap, from Alabama and everybody? How do we do that? Because Ohio State's recruiting these last 2-3 years, it's been insane. They've gotten the 1 and 2 receiver, 2 through 4 receiver. I mean, that's what you're talking about right now. You probably have Fleming was the number 1 receiver for his year, right?
He was the number 1 overall player.
My point exactly. And then the next year you had number 2 and 3. When does that equate to them dethroning the big guy? When does that happen? I mean, I'm not saying they're not successful. They aren't running the table in the Big Ten, and that's not a heck of a ball coach. I didn't think he would be that good. I'm being honest. He shocked me, and I'm happy that I like Ohio State. But, man, I've never seen a smoother transition from a great to an up-and-coming.
No, man. If I sat here and told you that I wasn't a little nervous, when Urban left, I'd be lying to you because I was nervous. I mean, I love Ryan Day. He's a great guy. But did I think he would walk in day one and have this kind of success on the recruiting trail, on the field? No, I did not. I didn't see it coming. Yeah. He's got the pedigree. He worked under Chip Kelly at New Hampshire. He won a national championship as a quarterback at New Hampshire, but that's New Hampshire, man. This is the Buckeyes, and I was concerned. I liked the hire. I liked the move, keeping it in-house and all that good stuff, but I was nervous. But, oh, my gosh, I agree with you. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a guy step in and recruit this well opening day. And, the gap was there last year. It was evident in the national championship game. But if you back up and look at the game before the national championship game, I mean, we dog stomped Clemson Tigers.
Smoked them.
We smoked them. Right. And the Clemson Tigers were a good football team. So, the difference was last year we didn't have Chase Young. Last year we didn't have Nick Bosa. True. Last year we didn't have Joey Bosa. Yep. And the pass rush wasn't the same. We had some decent players. I like Jonathan Cooper. I like Tyreek Smith. I like those guys. Right. But some of them didn't play in the championship game. And then, now we've got him. The pass rushers are there. We got JTT, the number 1 player in the country. He reclassified. He's going to play this year. And then we have the number 1 player from the year before, Jack Sawyer. So, you take the 2 top
from Washington State.
JTT.
I did not know he reclassified.
He reclassified, committed to Ohio State, and then joined. It came to fall practice, so he'll be out there. I don't know if he'll start opening day, but I'm telling you, I watched the spring game, and Jack Sawyer was a one-man wrecking crew.
Okay.
And if you can take Jack Sawyer, add JT Taumula, and then you got Tyreek Smith, Zach Harrison, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, all ready to spell those two guys.
Right.
Who the hell is going to block these 5 guys? I have no idea.
That's a rotation.
There's no way that you can block those guys. I mean, this will be the best pass rush that I may have ever seen in college football, and definitely ever seen at Ohio State. And there's been some damn good. I mean, we've had 4 of the top 5 defensive rookies of the year in the last 5 years, and these guys may be better. So I think that gap, if ever, we were just talking about if Iowa State's ever going to be in the top 10, it's going to be this year. If the gap is ever going to get closed between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Ohio State Buckeyes, I believe it's this year.
Okay.
I do. Now, there's a lot of pressure on young C.J. Stroud, but let's say this, okay? Let's say next Saturday, C.J. Stroud comes out and he sucks, okay? Do I think that's going to happen? No, but, let's say he struggles. Let's say it's not happening. Well, throw Kyle McCord out there. I mean, maybe you put Quinn Ewers in. I don't know, but I'm just saying,
maybe
the quarterback position don't work out. Right. They've got 3-4 other guys that they could try if CJ just doesn't cut it. So I'm not concerned about the quarterback position, honestly, because if for whatever reason CJ doesn't work, we've got 3 other options.
I agree. But you know what stood out? I think it's once Ryan Day took over. Did he start 6-0 or something like that? And they got a quote from Urban Meyer, and it really stuck with me. Urban Meyer said, "For the first time in my career, I had a guy on my staff that was smarter than me."
Oh.
Okay.
Hey-o.
So I was thinking, I was like, Urban Meyer's a cocky guy. And for him to say that, Ryan Day really must be that guy. He must be a special dude for Urban Meyer to endorse him like that. And I mean, and look at what he's done. He's just continued to soar. So Urban Myers knew what Ryan Day had in him, and he endorsed the guy. And man, it must feel great to be a Buckeye fan. I would tell you that right now, to believe in your coach like that, because he's done nothing but win. Look at you. He's done nothing but win. He knows how to lead a program. He knows how to recruit. He's getting it done. You're always in a position to fight for a natty. He's the man.
Hey, we've been knocking on the door, and I really believe, he's learned a lot his first 2 years. I mean, that loss at Clemson, there could have been setbacks for guys of a lesser caliber after that victory. And I'm not gonna go on a tangent about the referees because that's not what we're doing tonight. We're not breaking down the referees' calls. But that game was bogus, and he could have handled it one of 2 ways. And the way he brought that team back the following year to not only play the way they played throughout the season, but then take on that pretty much same Clemson team and kick their ass. I just couldn't believe it. And I'm a big believer in Ryan Day. I think he's going to lead us to the promised land, and I can't wait to see what it looks like against Minnesota.
I'm excited. I'm excited to check it out. But listen, while we're talking Big Ten, Harbaugh, how he signed an extension, and nobody really talked about it. I talked about it with my friends. We were baffled. What has he done in the Big Ten to deserve an extension? Does he get a special treatment because he's a Michigan guy, or because they're not treating him like they do other top-paid college football coaches? Because he would have been out of there. You haven't beat your rival not one time since you've been there. You have a losing record pretty much against the Big Three and the Big Ten. And you're there, and they gave you an extension. Can you make that make sense for me?
Me? No, I cannot. I cannot. If you're asking me to explain that, I can't do it. I don't I can't explain it. I'm glad that they signed him back up. I want him staying right where his ass is because we kick his butt every year, and I love it. But it was surprising to me. I know that he, last season was a disaster. Joe Milton, who I like, we're not going to talk about where he's at now, but I liked Joe Milton, and I thought he had a chance to be a pretty good player, and he was garbage. And that whole team was garbage last year. And really shocked me how poorly they played and how much they got pushed around in every game. And I know it's tough. The Big Ten, shut down and then open back up and then shut down and whatever. But every team had to deal with that, and I thought they handled it the worst of any of those teams. So I really can't explain it. The guy has won absolutely nada. Since he's been there, and what's his year 9? He's never even won his side of the conference, not once. He's never won a big game. He's never made the college football playoff. He's never played in the Big Ten championship. He's never beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. So what's he done?
Nate, we're not going to skip around that Joe Milton. We're not going to skip around it, okay? Listen. They say that I've seen the pictures and videos. He's a specimen. If the Vols can get this guy to play ball, that's going to speak volumes about what's going on in Michigan, if you ask me. That's more of a test right there. If this guy comes to Knoxville, Tennessee, and is able to win some ball games, something's really wrong because maybe my guys lost grip of the program. Why did they have so many guys transfer out from Michigan? Like, guys were leaving left and right. D linemen, O linemen, linebackers, quarterback. Guys are jumping ship. It must be a sinking ship, Nate.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. Last year was a disaster. I loved every minute of it because the only thing I like more than watching my Buckeyes win is watching the Wolverines lose. In fact, I may even enjoy that sometimes a little bit more. But I was a little bit baffled of what I saw last year. I mean, I like Joe. He's a good kid. My God, he is an athlete. I'm not so sure that maybe he shouldn't play a different position because he could play whatever he wants. I mean, that guy is stacked. He's got a hell of an arm. So maybe he is a quarterback, but I don't see how his position has improved as far as what's around him. And is the coaching better? I don't know. But I definitely think the offensive line, the wide receivers, the running backs were better up there. But it just didn't work. It just didn't work last year. And I think he got all the blame. And me and you both know, as playing football, as long as me and you both have, and, even at the level I played at, the quarterback gets all the praise when you win, and he gets all the blame when you lose.
Exactly.
And I'm not so sure it was all his fault, to be honest.
We're going to find out soon. Now, we'll say my Vols, I think with the good coaching, our O-line can definitely be improved a lot. I mean, if you look at the guys we have on the O-line, we have quality guys. So we'll see how they play this year. But I definitely think Michigan had the edge with the running backs. That's not up for debate. Michigan had a couple of really good running backs up there. The receiving core, we got a bunch of young guys at UT right now that are hungry. You got Hyatt over there who's ready to go. You got a couple other guys, but Michigan may have the edge there too. Running back, receivers. I think O-line, Tennessee may have the better O-line if handled the right way. But we're going to see. We're going to be able to tell a lot. But here's my thing. We had a bunch of guys transfer from Tennessee, Nate.
Yeah.
But we had a coach. But
Tennessee had the most transfers of any school in Division I Power 5. The most.
But hold on, Nate. We had a coaching change. We had coaches fired. Michigan didn't have coaches fired.
True.
And they had a bunch of guys leave. So that's what I'm saying. We knew we had a sinking ship. It was sank. The coaches left. We had to leave. They were fired. But Michigan, you gave a guy an extension, and you had a bunch of guys leaving. It makes no sense.
No, it's true. It's true. But the thing that worries me about Joe at Tennessee is you know, Trey Smith being gone is going to be a big factor. I'm sorry, but that guy has been the one stabilizing force on that team, not only on the field, but off the field. Trey was the leader. And, you know, I just, you look and see what he's doing right now in these preseason games, shoving dudes around out there on an NFL field. And you can tell he wasn't the problem. He's gone, man. And these other guys are going to have to step up. And what you have to remember is Wanya Morris is gone too. He's gone. OU. I mean, and not only did Wanya jump ship and go to the Sooners and is going to start opening day, but he took Eric Gray with him.
Starting running back as well.
I mean, Eric Gray's a dog, man. And I'm telling you, I know they got some other guys, and I know, you know, they brought other people in, but did they get somebody better than Wanya Morris? Did they get a running back better than Eric Gray? I don't think so.
Nate, why? You have to tell the truth?
Yeah, that's how I see it, bro.
You have to tell the truth, even when it hurts, huh?
I watched Eric Gray play in high school for 3 years, and the dude never got stopped. I watched him play at UT behind a line that had talent, but really wasn't blocking that well, and he still got yards.
Listen, if you ask me, Nate. If you ask me, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Trey Smith wasn't the same Trey Smith last year to me. I watched the games, and I don't know if it was the coaching or what, but what's my big guy? The brothers. Cade Mays. He wasn't mauling people like he usually did. And I don't know if it was it the environment? Was it the coaching over there? You had monsters. Cade Mays is a monster. Cooper Mays will probably be a monster this year. You know these guys.
Dude, I watched Cade Mays play for 4 years in high school. And that guy and I watched him play at Georgia for 2 years. He's a tremendous football player, but he did not look the same out there. That line just did not. It didn't. You know, there was a lot of hype surrounding that offensive line. I mean, I heard whispers of, you know, the back in the glory days, how this line was, you know, maybe one of the best that the Vols have ever seen. And, you know, a lot of talk, but no backup, because they didn't get it done on the field.
That was my biggest disappointment last year, was by far the offensive line play. And, you know, with this new coaching staff, we're going to see what the O-line coach can do, because we know a couple of those guys personally. We've seen those guys. I coach Cooper Mays. I know what he's made of. And I know what his big brother's made of. You know, so it's up to the coach to get it out of the player.
Man.
Whatever you need to do to make them most comfortable, then put them in a position to dominate. Because we've seen Cade and Cooper Mays dominate. So that's the coaching staff.
It is. Let's be honest here. It's not like they haven't had some players. I mean, even when Butch Jones was there, they had players. When Jeremy Pruitt was there, they've had players. They just haven't been able to. They haven't had a coach. I mean, that's the facts. There's been no coach, and you know, I don't want to make this into a Tennessee show, but it's truth. It's truth.
It's the truth.
You got to have a coach first and foremost. You can have the greatest players in the world, but if you don't have a guy that can pick the best player at each, I mean, the first thing you have to do is pick the best player at each position and get them on the field. Right. And they haven't had a guy that can even do that.
Right. And the second part, which I think a lot of people forget, Nate, being a coach now myself at the college level, is this. Your guys have to believe in you. They have to believe in you, which means you have to coach them. When you're coaching a guy and he's using the tools that you're giving him and he knows that he's getting better listening to you, that creates buy-in.
Yeah.
Now your player is going to give his 110% out there. So when you got a beast like Cade Mays and he believes in what you're coaching him to do and he's getting better, he's going to go out there and lay it all on the line. So, yeah, but that's our Tennessee spiel. What we got next, Nate?
Yeah, no, we got a little Tennessee football in, but no, it's facts. We're just telling the way it is.
Right.
But yeah, let's we broke down the top 10 pretty good there. We can get more into that here on our show, Man Coverage, which will be coming out next Sunday. Me, Knoxville Nate, and RICO MCCOY. We'll be breaking it down, recapping every game on the Sunday following College Football Saturday. So we'll do that, get more in depth. But I wanted to do our a top 5 breakout players. I figure what we can do is I'll let you go first. I'll let you give us your top guys for this year, and then I'm gonna drop my guys, and I'm gonna throw a little video out there with my guys because I'm gonna back up my facts with a little bit of a little videotape.
Look at you, a little PowerPoint going on, huh?
Yeah.
Little presentation. So this is no particular order. It's my top 5. I got to start with the home team, the Maryland Terps. I don't know if he's considered a breakout player, but Rakim Jarrett, okay, he was lit it up last year as a true freshman. I think this year he'll be up for All-American, playing under Coach Loxley, who's another hometown guy. You know, I've known Coach Loxley since I was 13 years old. You know, he and James Franklin were the big recruiters at the University of Maryland. You know, when I was growing up. Coach Loxley's from D.C., just like me, neighborhood. And Rakim Jarrett is a big out of St. John's High School in D.C., you know, my alma mater.
Nice.
And I think he's set to possibly, I know you're a Big Ten guy. I know you're an Ohio State guy. But I think he'll get way more balls than those guys. Like you said, they have too many at Ohio State. I think he'll get more balls than all of those guys, and he'll be first team All Big Ten, and he'll probably be All American. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, he was pretty good last year too, man.
Yeah, he had a great season. Great couple. So I have him my second guy, I should say, not number 2, Marshawn Lloyd, another guy from the DMV, from DeMatha High School. He was a top-rated runner.
Whoa. Did Rico go down? There he is.
There you go.
Okay.
So look, Nate, my second guy is Marshawn Lloyd from the DMV, DeMatha High School. He's a top recruit for the Gamecocks last year, tore his ACL going into camp.
Nice.
It's funny, right? Small world. Former Vol Montero Hardesty will be coaching him, my boy. So I get the updates and stuff. He'll be getting a lot of carries for the Gamecocks this year, but we got to remember this is a guy that was, 210 pounds, 215 pounds, running a 10.500, low 4.4 guy, great out the backfield catching. I'm excited to see him. My third guy is a Jay Hall. However you say, Ajay Hall from Alabama, the guy from down in Valrico, Tampa area.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a starter this year. He comes with high praises from the OC and Coach Saban. He's supposed to be the second coming of Julio Jones. That's my third guy. That's my third guy right there. So we'll see. My fourth guy, breakout, Knoxville Catholic guy.
Oh,
for the University of Tennessee. He's going to be a starter for his sophomore year.
TB.
At Tyler Barron.
Oh,
Tyler Barron. I think he's going to turn up this year. I think Coach Banks coaching the defense over there, there's going to be a lot of attention to detail, and that these guys are going to have a lot of tools in their tool bag. Tyler went into college as a grown man. I mean, 6'5", 255, good hands. You've seen him.
I never realized how big that guy was until I stood next to him, and I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like, this dude looks like an NFL player
right now.
And this was when he was, just going into his senior year, once he, moved from Nashville to Knoxville Catholic. I think people sleeping on him because he was the one dude that really jumped off the tape for me as a freshman for the Vols.
Made some plays. He made plays, and I'm excited to see him take it to the next level this year. And I'm going to keep it on that same team because I wish my boys the best. I'm hoping that Jalen Hyatt gets the football this year. I'm hoping that the quarterback can get it to him. I'm hoping that he can show that elite speed outside. I mean, it's been a while. We watched, Callaway. We've watched Jawan Jennings. And, those guys can play. They're football players. They make plays. He was good with the jump ball, Callaway. I like watching the guys play. Josh Palmer, same way. But it's been a while since we had a guy that could run the top off of defense. Yeah. And that's what Hyatt's supposed to be. And I'm excited to see it. I want to see him get out there and do all the things that the Vol fans are waiting on and hoping for. Those are my top guys I want to break out this year,
I like it. I like you guys a lot. And the thing is, your boy at Maryland's got him a QB back there from the football too.
With the familiar name.
Dude, I was impressed by Tua's little brother. I got to tell you, man, there was times last year where he was unstoppable. And had it not been for some COVID issues on their team and some injuries, who knows what they could have done. So I expect him to be pretty legit this year, both those guys. So,
well, Nate, think of this. Mike Locksley is a bad man.
Yes.
Okay, listen, they didn't talk about him much at Bama, but when you talk about the record-setting seasons, Mike Locksley was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. Like, you had a bunch of guys come through there as OC. Lane Kiffin's great. The guy you got now, they're good guys. They're real good coaches. But Mike Locksley took it to a new level. Mike Locksley opened that offense up like never before. And he's an amazing recruiter. So,
no, I agree.
Nate, I'm telling you, did you see the RPOs and stuff that he implemented with Maryland? It's too creative. It's a nightmare for defenses.
They were unstoppable at times, man. And to be honest, my first guy that I'm going to whip out was also unstoppable. And this is a guy that he played at a little bit smaller of a program, but it's not because he sucks, man. He was recruited and signed and committed to play at Auburn. And that's quarterback Malik Willis. This guy, look at him. What do you want him to do? You want him to throw it? You want him to run it? You want him to, throw it to himself? He could probably do that.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I didn't know Liberty had a football team, okay, until I watched them play. I mean, I knew they had a football team, but I didn't know they had a football team that could compete.
Right.
Until I watched them play last year. And this kid, look at him. I mean, it's like I can't even really compare him to anybody because I've never really seen anybody like him before. He can do it all, and he's a magic man. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens, but he's one of my guys. I don't have him in order either, but I think he's just going to continue to get better, and I can't wait to see what he does. So that's my first guy.
That's good.
My second guy here is a dude from your neck of the woods, Travion Henderson. Last year we had Trey Sermon for the Buckeyes. Last year, we had our boy, what's the guy's name? The big dude, 33.
Was that Teague?
Teague, thank you. My mind just went completely blank. We had Teague, and I like him too. But to be honest, we had Mayan Williams also. But I got to be honest, I don't know if any of those guys, Trey Sermon's gone. I don't know if any of those guys are going to get carries because this dude from the Virginia area, I believe, he's going to be legit.
You remember him? He was a Vol recruit. That is Darrell Taylor's cousin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember him. That's Darrell Taylor's cousin.
And I love Darrell Taylor, by the way. I hope he has a big season for the Seahawks because I was sick when I heard about his injury last year. I love that guy. I met him a couple times, and he's a great dude. So, and this guy, if he's related to him, has athletic ability. But just look at him, man. He was basically untackleable, if that's a word, in high school because dude was nasty. And from what I hear, he's going to be out there on day one, and no one's really ever started at running back as a freshman for Ohio State University, except for Mo Claret.
Hey, the legend. Come on,
dude,
down.
I love Mo Claret. There's nobody that I really love more than Mo Claret, and I don't even want to get into how bad that guy got screwed. But moving right along. I got to go with my guy, D'Eriq King, the quarterback from the Canes.
How can he qualify for this category? He's broken out before already.
Because I think he's going to get better. I think that this is the time that the Canes come back.
Oh, wow.
All the way, man. I mean, do they win the championship? No. But I'm talking about I think they might be in that Final Four, Rico. I'm telling you. When's the last time that the Canes had a quarterback like this?
Oh, as exciting and as explosive as him? Oh, it's been years. It's been years.
I mean, tell me, who's the guy? I mean, I don't know. I can't even think of who it is because it's been so long since the Canes had a proven guy and a guy that can get it done. And I know they lost that guy, Brevin Jordan. I know they lost some guys. But let's talk about who they still have. D'Eriq King's got Cameron Harris. They've got Jalen Knighton, both unbelievable running backs. They got Charleston Rambo, who transferred from Oklahoma to add to the.
He's a bad boy too.
Dude, Charleston Rambo could start anywhere in the country.
Yes, sir.
And guess what? He's going to start for the Canes next. So I'm real excited about him. Everybody knows who he is. But I put him in my breakout category because I think he's going to improve.
You think he'll put the team on his back and put him on the map? I can see that because, listen, when I watched him at Houston that season before he set out, oh, my goodness. Do you remember that?
Oh, dude, I fell in love with this kid. He's too small, he doesn't have the arm strength, he's just not big enough. Well, he looks big as hell out there running over people and throwing dimes all over the field like he is doing right here against Clemson.
I really like this pick because you know what? He's going to get back to that form, and I'd like to see Miami back in the thick of things. That'd be nice for college football.
No, I agree with you. James Bonneville agrees with you. He thinks D'Eriq King can't break out. But I just wanted to put him on my list because I love him and I wanted to talk about him. So, James, you can call me out all you want. I love this guy, and I just really wanted to watch some tape on him while we were talking. So, he may not be a breakout guy, but he's my guy. So that's what matters. And then lastly, I got my boy right here, Jack Sawyer. I already talked about him, so I'm not going to talk about him too much. But I'm telling you, Rico, this is another guy that I really don't know who to compare him to. He didn't even play last year as a senior in high school, which I'm kind of glad about because I didn't want him to get hurt or get the Rona. But the dude is unstoppable, and I see him and JTTT starting, by week 2 or 3 and just being an unstoppable force. He's an edge guy. He can rush the passer, but this guy can play the run. And I mean, he can do it all. I watched that spring game and there was a lot of talent out on that field, but I have to be honest with you. This guy was the best player out of all of them. And that's saying
his hands. He's good with his hands.
Oh my gosh, he sheds blocker. He can beat you, running you over. He can use his hands and shed blockers and get by you. I just don't know what this guy can't do, and I'm very excited to see what happens because this guy is one of the best players that I've seen come to Ohio State, and that most certainly is saying something.
Sweet.
So that's it, man. Those are our breakout guys. I guess Derek King isn't really a breakout player, but man, I just wanted to talk about him because I love him. And when I was a little kid, I was a Canes guy. Even though I've always been a Buckeye and was a Tennessee transplant, I always, man, if anybody's ever going to bring them back to prominence, I think it's Derek King.
Hey, I'm right there with you. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Miami get back in the thick of things. That'd be awesome.
I think it'd be good for college football.
Yep.
And I think they're gonna have people come there for recruiting because they've always been able to recruit, and now
Miami, Nate. Now
they can legally pay people, so it's just going to get better and better for them.
Nate, before we go, listen, we didn't talk about. Hey, Justin, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. We didn't talk about North Carolina. What do you think about the Tar Heels? Like, what do you think?
Well, you know what? I got to be honest. I have been impressed with what Mac has done. Coming back, I was kind of like, what? Mac Brown's coming back to coach college football. I was like, didn't he retire like 10 years ago? But he was an unbelievable coach and led Texas to a national championship. And look at what he's done at UNC. They had a pretty good ball team the last 2 years, but to me, losing Michael Carter, losing Javonte Williams, losing the wide receiver Brown, to me, I see them for some reason taking a step back. And I know they still got Sam Howell, and I know a lot of people love that guy, but I'm not one of them. I mean, I like him. He's good. He's good, but I don't see the guy winning them a national championship. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what you think. I mean, tell me. You tell me.
The jury's still out because this is really going to show how good that quarterback is. I mean, can other guys just step in and he's still slinging a rock to him like that? I mean, that ground game, I mean, think about when you got running backs that can rush for almost 200 yards apiece in a game. How much weight do you have to carry?
2,000-yard rushers in the same backfield, man.
Come on. That's a lot of load being carried by them two guys. So we'll get to see now when teams don't have to load the box, how well he can still throw the football. So we'll see. The jury's out.
Yeah. No, we'll see. I mean, I've seen flashes. I've seen flashes where he's looked real solid, and but it's more like I see him busting out against Duke instead of busting out against Clemson, or I've seen him, tearing up Ja Tech instead of tearing up Florida. I mean, we'll see what happens, but. He's got to make me a believer until, I got to see it to believe it. I'm a show me guy. I've lived in Knoxville for the last 10 years. So I got to see it to believe it, but
sure.
we'll see what he's got, man. We got some good matchups. Obviously we're going to break this down next week, week from Sunday, man coverage. Everybody, I hope you all will join us. We're going to be on the air on Sundays. We'll get you some updates. Follow us on @MAN_coverage, man_coverage at Twitter. We got our YouTube page ready to go, so we're about to explode, and we're going to talk about these games, man. We got Ohio State, Minnesota. We got UNC, Tech. We got Penn State, Wisconsin. We got Bama versus Miami.
That's the game right there. I can't wait to break it down.
That is the game. Bama, Miami is definitely probably my favorite game. Number 2 is probably Clemson, Georgia. We're about out of time here, so we can't really get into it. But I think that is going to be a hell of a football game. Indiana, Iowa is a sneaky good game. I can't believe I'm saying that.
What's my quarterback's name?
Penix.
Come on.
Oh, my God, I love that guy. Oh, my God, I found myself cheering for Indiana football last year, and that's never happened. So I love this kid. He was also recruited here in Knoxville, and they basically told him to get out of here. And look what he did last year. I mean, that guy was amazing.
what about their transformation from the way they ended 19 to 20? That ball coach got them going, didn't he?
Man, I love that guy. I absolutely love that guy. He won. He was coach of the year in a lot of the end of the year publications, and I got to be honest, I couldn't have agreed more with an award. I mean,
the transformation.
he just changed that. Everybody always talks, we're going to come in, we're going to change the culture.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds great, but it's way harder to do than saying it. And Coach Moore came in and did it, and it was absolutely amazing. So I'm interested to see that game. Louisiana taking on Texas. The start of the Sark era down there in Texas, and then Notre Dame, Florida State. So I hope everybody joins us for those, man, because that's gonna be some good games.
Nate,
nah,
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the Texas thing. I'm sorry. We'll talk about it, but I'm not buying it, Nate.
No, man, that guy had his chance out at USC, man. He had some loaded teams, and the only thing that really was loaded at the end of the game was him. Oh my God! Did I just say?
You did. You're rolling today.
I'm sorry, man. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
That's okay.
I like the guy, honestly, I'm anybody. I'm not making fun of someone who has problems because that's a serious issue. But I'm just saying I'm not buying it either. I think Tom Herman was a pretty, as much as I hate the rat, Tom Herman, he was a pretty good offensive mind, and he couldn't win down there in Austin with a fifth-year quarterback in Sam Ehlinger. So good luck with the new guy.
Right. So we'll see. We'll talk more about it.
Yep. Well, everybody, we appreciate you tuning in tonight on the Safety and the Sportswriter, aka Man Coverage with me and Rico. Please tune in week from Sunday. We will be breaking down all the college football action. And Rico, man, I am extremely excited, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good season.
Nate, this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get to fully express ourselves if you started already. And listen, it's going to be how we really feel. And we're going to get into this thing. Break down some of the big games and talk SEC, Big Ten football, some of that Pac-12 stuff. And shoot, just tune in. We're going to have a lot of fun.
No doubt, man. We're going to give our opinions. We're going to be honest, and we're going to we're not going to do the ESPN fluff piece. We're going to get into the games, and we're going to talk about why they were won, why they were lost. Mm-hmm. As we talked about before on our promo, the breakout players, the the underdogs of the week. Those are things we're going to discuss, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope everybody tunes in, and we'll be debuting a week from Sunday. So have a great night, Rico, and I look forward to doing it again with you.
Take it easy, Nate. We'll get together soon.
All right, buddy. Good night to everybody, and thank you for tuning in. And have a good one, buddy.
Take it easy, everybody.
All right, adios.